Yo, Mr. Ritchie Jr., what's up, man?
Yeah, how you doing, Luke?
I'm good,
It's been a
bro.
while.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. Been like over a year, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the roughly November, December we last done a proper video chat. Yeah,
That's right, man.
uh,
Yeah.
so
How you been,
over a
man?
year. Yeah, I've been good. Things have been going well.
Hmm.
Um, up and down more.
Hmm.
2019, an up and down year.
Hmm. Me
An
too.
interesting year. A fun year though. Fun year.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Every year's fun for me
Hmm.
because I know that's quite a specific way to start an introduction, but every year's fun for me, regardless if it's an enjoyable year or not,
Hmm.
because you learn something. So,
Yeah.
and as I've got older, I realised that even if things aren't enjoyable, you're still learning a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true, man.
So
That's
yeah,
true.
things have been good. So how things for you?
Bit of both, man. Bit of both, but I think that 2020 is going to be the year. I think that I'm excited to, make some progress and maybe, you know, do some, do some real I think for me, it's going to be a lot about like really grounding. That's something I'm interested in now. Just really getting just grounded and just getting some real peace and strength within myself because I think that's something I've always kind of lacked.
Yeah,
And so I think for me, that will pay off bigger dividends like on into the future.
I would say it would as well because I'm probably on the same path with that.
Mm,
Uh, Different degrees because we're each our own, but
mm,
I would say that you're, what I've realised is a lot of my internal has been good on the whole,
mm,
but it's still not been 100%. It
mm,
never will be 100% because you're always wanting to make gains,
mm,
but it could still be a lot closer to 100% than it's
mm,
been.
mm,
But what I've noticed as well is see your external in life,
mm.
it mirrors your internal.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
definitely.
that so that's something that's sort of changed for me because I definitely was more on the path a few years ago that they were separate to some extent.
Mm,
Now I disagree with that. Now I think they're actually very close to each other.
yeah,
That
yeah.
internal and external, they're still different words, but what you show in your external usually mirrors your internal. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's you definitely learn as you get older. Yeah,
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. All like spiritual work is based on that truth. Like I for sure agree with that, and I think that's what Julian really. I think he really hammers that point home in all the work that he does now.
yeah, yeah. Well, the funny thing about that is like he always shows up in my advertisement on YouTube, but
Yeah.
he's really went down the spiritual path.
Oh
path.
yeah.
I guess the whole RSD, like all the instructors have really like, went in their own sort of pathways because they've realised that what they were doing wasn't selling to the masses anymore.
Yeah.
Um, well, it wasn't as much. It was still obviously
Mm.
they were making tons of money out of
Oh
it, but I'm
yeah.
saying
Oh yeah.
yeah, but they wanted to change paths, and I don't see an issue with that. I think it's a great thing.
I think I do
Yeah,
too.
because I mean, if you look at the whole concept, like if you look at Tyler, his whole concept of what he was promoting was self help.
Yeah, I know.
He's just went about it a different way now. Now he's realizing that we've got the popularity and we've got the status that we can actually just go straight into self help
Yeah.
rather than enticing people in. They don't
Hmm.
have to do that anymore.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and the whole company now has shifted to self help generally, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they still offer boot camps. Like they must still offer boot camps.
I think they do, but definitely not as much. Definitely not
That's
as
right.
much.
Yeah.
I guess because they're shifting, boot camps wouldn't really align with what they're really trying to showcase.
Mm.
But
I feel
I
like
mean,
probably the new guys are still doing boot camps, like Maze and that other guy EV. I feel like they're probably still doing boot camps. I could see some of them else. I could see probably Jeffy still does boot camps. Like,
yeah, he's one of the like Jeffy. He's about like 42 or something,
yeah,
isn't
oh
he? Like,
yeah, he's at
yeah,
least
I
40.
like Jeffy though. Yeah,
I love Jeffy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one of my favourite. That's the one that got me into it.
Oh yeah, Jeffy.
Max.
Oh Max. Oh Max. Yeah.
And no, Max. But Max and Jeffy, they've collaborated a few times in
Yeah.
different videos.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Tyler, he's the kind of
He's the
he's
king,
the
man.
main one, right?
Did,
Yeah,
did,
he's the
did we
king.
talk about Derek before?
I think his name popped up, but we've not went into specifics with Garrett. No.
Okay, let me just say this really quickly for guys on your channel because I mention it all the time in my last couple
Yeah.
videos. Just some people don't know this, okay? But Derek does 80% of the boot camps.
What he runs them?
Yeah, he's 80% of the
Yeah.
boot camps. A lot of guys don't know that. And Tyler does the
Yeah.
other 10%.
Yeah.
And then all the other guys share the last 10%.
Yeah. So I didn't even know that. I knew he'd done a lot, but I didn't know it was 80%. I didn't know it was that high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite impressive.
I know, and no disrespect to
Yeah.
the other guys. I obviously
No.
love all the guys at RSD. But it just, I think sometimes people don't realize that. Because when you go on his channel, he has like the least views of anyone.
Yeah, he does.
It's crazy.
I think he wants to keep it that way to
I
somewhat.
know, it's
I think,
crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
I know.
Anyway, that's just an interesting little fact for people.
And then just to wrap this last point, now
Yeah.
you've got the girl as well. I don't know if like Sarah her name is. Or
Oh, right.
like that.
I very briefly looked at her. I think that's great. I think good for her.
Yeah. I mean, I've not really watched many of her stuff. I've seen her more with the sort of group chats, but
Okay.
again, I've not been watching them as often because
yeah, I don't watch
like,
it. Yeah, I don't
I
watch.
think it's at the stage I'm at, and you're probably like that yourself. Like,
Mm.
I've been into self development for what I've been into self development for more than 5 years, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say officially for 5 years, as in that's when I made it more conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Because before that, I was still doing things, but definitely 5 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I've been in it for a while. So the point I was trying to make is, as you go on in this journey, you watch less videos, and you just focus more on your own.
Yeah. 100%. I'm kind of like that too, and it's funny too because you do realize that a big thing that was happening was a lot of guys were watching those videos and they were never doing anything.
Not at all, no.
Tyler says 90% of guys that watch the videos never go out, never do anything.
Yeah.
And and if you've ever been to an inner circle meetup, you'll know that's true.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, whether it's 90% or whether it's 85%, it's around the 90% ballpark.
It's high,
but,
really high.
So 1 in 10 guys is doing something, but that doesn't mean that they're good. That just means they're. I would actually say it's 1 in 100.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would agree with that.
1 in 100 guys is fully switched on.
Yep.
But I would definitely say 1 in 10's doing some
a little
making
bit,
some sort of progress. Yeah.
Yeah, but the only way you really make progress is when you're that 1 or 2 or 3 guys out of 100. That's when you really get into it and you advance seriously. Those other guys who dabble, they never really get anywhere because they've always got one foot in, 1 foot out. You can't do it like that.
Yeah, and I mean the thing that's quite sad about that is there's guys that are like, because I would say I started from quite a low position, not too low though. So I was quite lucky that it wasn't too low, because guys that have got like maybe guys that are 1, 2 out of 10, as in like their natural set point, those guys will really struggle. Most guys won't make pro. I was like a 3 out of 10. So I was starting quite low, but I could, on my journey, I was still seeing small progress. I'm talking about first because it took me a while to get going.
Me too.
But because I've got to be honest, I dabbled at first. I've spoken about that before. Like, and when I say dabble, I just wasn't sure that this was for me, so that's why I dabbled. And I liked what I've seen, but it's putting that into actual going out and doing it. That was the hard part, but I stuck with it, and it paid off. and you don't even realize it paid off
Right.
because you only realize when you actually think about it.
Yeah.
Because when I think about where I was at 5 years ago as to now,
Mm.
it's amazing progress, like
Yeah.
for myself. But because your mind changes and stuff like that, you're
Mm.
still wanting. Like, you're looking at the next 5 years. You're looking at
Mm-hmm.
the next. You're thinking, I can make so much more progress again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just step by step. But
Mm-hmm.
the reason we've spoke about this, but it's a point that even for your subscribers and my subscribers, that it's to kind of get them sort of either started or to get them out of that bad position.
Mm.
The,
Okay.
the way to keep going is just keep going.
Mm.
Too many guys are like results orientated. Number
Yeah.
one, which
That's
is bad.
stupid. That's stupid.
That's terrible
Yeah.
because I wasn't too results orientated. Lucky enough,
Mm.
I had little elements of it, but
Mm.
I wasn't really in it for that to begin with.
No, it's
So
not
that's a
about.
good thing.
Yeah, it's not
No,
about that. Anyone who
it's not.
it's not about that, and that's the common misconception that people have. They think it
Yeah,
is. This girl, that girl. It's not about that, man. And until you realize that, you're always going to be missing it.
yeah, because if it's about that for you, don't get into self development in the first place. Because
For sure.
I know guys that aren't in self development and they absolutely kill it with girls. Now, especially at night, like
Do they
you,
though? Those are the same guys who quote kill it and then get wrapped up in a toxic relationship.
that, that's well, you get those guys, but I'm talking about guys that kill it, but they would actually probably do fairly well in a relationship as well.
Okay,
Now,
well that's cool. That's good for that guy.
yeah, but what I'm saying is most guys aren't like that, though. I'm just
No,
saying
no, they're not.
there's guys that aren't in self development that are just supernaturals.
A
Just
handful. That's a handful of
yeah,
guys. It's a handful of
yeah,
guys. Out of 100, it's a couple. It's a
yeah,
handful, maybe. Yeah, and those are the guys who were on the football team, who were on the hockey team, who just were in the popular group. Yeah, out of 100 guys, there's 2 or 3, maybe, who are like that.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That see if you're results orientated, you might not get the results of those guys, but if you're still going for it, you could still improve that life
For
without getting
sure.
into self development.
Mm,
Is it an optimal way? No, it's not, because
mm,
you'll never be full circle.
mm,
Um, but
mm.
the point I'm trying to make is, if you want to get into self development, you have to think that I could be in this for 50 years.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to
Yeah,
say when you were saying that, if that guy, oh, well, I'm not as good as that guy who was on the football team, it's like, I know, man, but just wait 10 years. Keep at it for
yeah,
10 years. Dude, this takes years. This ain't going to happen overnight.
oh
This,
yeah,
this kind of thing takes years of hard labor, bro.
for, yeah. For some guys, it takes decades.
For sure it
Not
does.
many, not many though. But I'm just
I
like,
think the
and,
average guy, it's going to take you a year or two for sure. For sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, you're
That,
looking
that,
probably
that, 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 yeah,
that's fast. Like I know Tom Ferrero says like it takes 2 years and it does and it can take longer. Like that's just to get in the game. That's just after 2 years it's like, okay, I can do this. I can ride a bike. Now we can actually
yeah.
get going and get some real success.
It took me 2 years, but when
Mm.
I say it took me 2 years, it took me 2 years to get like an average guy.
Yeah, me too. It's so
Yeah,
hard, man. It's so hard. Like I did this for like 3 years and it was really hard. And I was getting success, but it's hard, man. It's not a catch-all. It's not a cure-all. It's I think I mentioned this before. I did mention this before, but I'll say it again. I don't know if you knew that Jeffy made a comic book at one point.
I did.
Yeah,
I
so
did. Yeah,
at the beginning of it, it says, I think he attributes this quote to Ozzy. I don't know if you ever knew RSD Ozzy.
I know Ozzy.
Ozzy's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Ozzy's underrated. But anyway, so
yeah,
he attributed this quote to Ozzy. He said, "Who would have known that learning game was the route to becoming an actual human being?"
yeah,
I love that, man. It's so crazy. It's like who would have thought, man, that this retarded thing of like learning game or whatever you want to call it will actually show you how to be a real person. It's so fucking nuts.
yeah. It, it's nuts because when you actually think about it, it's sad how many people have to actually use this tool.
I know, it is a
Right?
shame because it's not even
But
the most effective
yeah,
way, but it's just
I, I think it's one of the most effective
oh, okay,
because
yeah, that's fair.
I think it's effective because when most people actually really try and get into it, you end up transferring that to all the other aspects of your life.
Yeah, you have to. You
Now,
have to.
unfortunately, most guys don't get to that stage, but that's the same with anything in life.
Mm,
Like, see when you were talking about the football team, most
mm-hmm.
guys don't make the cut,
I know.
right?
Yeah, and they fucking cry about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can either cry or you can just go on with it, and it's going to be it's very tough, and it's actually tougher once you get into it because see when you get into it at the start, like when I was dabbling and stuff, it was just a bit of fun.
Mm,
There was no pressure whatsoever
mm,
because
mm.
you knew you weren't good.
Yeah, I
You've
know.
never,
I know. Yeah,
and then see, yeah,
wait until the girls actually like you.
that's when the issues start.
That's
Yeah,
when it really gets hard. That's what people don't
yeah,
understand. That's what guys don't understand. Wait until what guys are really afraid of. It's not that the girl won't like them. It's not that she'll be mean. It's not that she's gonna be mean to him, which they will. But what they're scared of is that she will like him. That's
yeah,
the hard part. That's what's terrifying.
yeah. And I made a lot of mistakes with that
Me
because
too.
like even like so I was a year into this and I decided to go a big travel.
Mm.
So I went to LA and I was in LA for a few months.
That's
I went
fucking
to Vegas
awesome,
then,
man.
but
I didn't know you
yeah,
did that. That's wicked.
yeah. So that was 2016. So I was
Hmm.
only 24 at the time,
Yeah.
but it was a mistake, but it was a good mistake
Mm.
because it's not what I would recommend.
Mm.
And I'll explain why. Because you should get good where you're at first.
I agree with
Your
that.
hometown. Yeah.
That's a good
Because
point. Yeah.
I was doing things backwards. I hadn't got good in my hometown at all. I'd
Hmm.
hardly went out. But what the big thing for me when I went to LA was because I liked the girls better naturally. That 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 made me more motivated.
Mm.
I'd planned a lot better.
Mm.
I had the anonymity because I was like halfway across the world.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
so, I didn't have like friends or family. I was just me myself. I was staying at the hostels, so there was a lot of good points. But
Mm.
the one bad point with that trip,
You didn't know game.
I knew it, but not enough.
Not
Yeah,
enough. And that's
yeah,
very true, man. That's very true. And a lot of guys will say that. Like, look, man, it's not suddenly going to get easier because you're in New York City.
no,
Things aren't
yeah,
suddenly.
actually harder.
Yeah, it's going to be harder. Things aren't suddenly going to get easier because you're in downtown London.
Yeah,
Learn the skill set where you're at, even if it takes a year or two. And then once you've learned it and you've met every single girl in your city, which you should do at least
yeah,
once, and once you've done that, then it's like, okay, cool. Let's go to a bigger city now. So you've learned it.
yeah,
Let's go. So that's funny, man. Yeah, that's a good point, bro. For sure. You got to learn this stuff, man. You do.
yeah. And I mean, for me, the traveling actually helped my game, right? But
Mm.
the point that I make to that is, see if I'd been doing what I'd been doing, not traveling,
Mm.
it would have helped me even better.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it, it's a bit of a funny one because for me going away traveling, like, my game got better, like, because I was just approaching lots. I was at hostels. I
Mm.
was just social, right?
Mm.
But the point I'm trying to make is, if I'd done everything that I'd done abroad back home,
Mm.
well, like obviously in a small town you can't do what you could do in Los Angeles City, but
Mm.
you make the most of what you've got.
You can still
I
make
would
a
have
lot of
still learned,
progress. Yeah.
yeah, I'd have still learned a lot quicker. I know the streets, so I don't have to get a map.
Mm.
I know some people, I know friends. I could have went out with some friends. I could have rekindled some friendships,
Mm.
like especially out night and stuff like
Did
that.
Did you learn
Um,
alone? Did you learn on your own?
right, so I've learned. I've had wings,
Mm.
but I mostly go out myself,
Me too. Yeah,
and
I mostly learned on my own.
yeah, and I would say that's a great thing
Yeah, me
because
too.
I've spoke. I know we're going to talk about coaches later, but I spoke to a few coaches, even one coach that I had, and he even changed his mindset on this because he used to think you're better going out with wings, but I think 2 years ago he changed that mindset of he's noticing that the guys that are going out solo, and he does this full time, the guys that are going out solo seem to be more in the journey longer, and they seem to naturally have more results. Now it's not about the results, but
no. Yeah.
I see when I hear that word results, it's not even the girls' results; it's the
No,
results of
it's progress.
It's just like because if you're going to see if wings are good, but you have to have good wings.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, if you can't have a productive relationship with your friends, with your male friends, your wing, whatever you want to call it, and go out together and learn and progress together, if you can find that guy, that's great, and it really can help you. It can skyrocket your progress. But those are not easy to come by.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys suck. A lot of guys are fucking dumb, and they almost all the dudes I met from the inner circle and shit, they constantly had excuses. It was just nonsense. Like, so that's why I just ended up being like stupid. Like, I just have to, because they'll drag you down, as we know, right?
Yeah, like I'm lucky that so I stay in a town that's 30,000 population roughly, but there's a big city nearby.
Yeah.
So like for me to get to the big city, it's like 20 minutes in the train. So it's quite. So I mostly I kind of go between them. Yeah. Well, I did go between them, but sometimes because I went to some of these inner circles and stuff like that, and I like the inner circles because that's the only exception I make to this rule. That because I've got a rule that so whatever my level is, I can only go two above and two below for a wing. That's like so. Let's say at the time I was a 4, so I can go out with someone that's a 2 and above, and I can go out with someone that's a 6 and below.
I like how you classified yourself as a 4 as well, because that shows that you're realistic about things. Most guys don't understand that. They walk around thinking they're like an 8. A lot of guys that I met that I went out with, they thought they were like an 8.
Oh yeah, there's so much ego involved in this.
It's crazy.
And that's actually one of the main reasons I go out my own.
Yeah. Dude, they're like think they're an 8. I'm like, dude. I'm like, what value did you bring to that interaction? He's like, I don't know, probably like a 7 or an 8. I'm like, dude, that was like a 1.5.
Yeah.
Like at best, bro, maybe a 2. And so it's like, I like how you said you were a 4 at a lot of times. And I was like, I was the same. And I'd do an interaction and I'd be like, well, how do you think I did? He'd be like, dude, that was a 10. And I'd be like, dude, that was like a 4.5.
Yeah.
I was like, I brought like that was like a 4.5 or a 5. Like that girl didn't even register what was going on. She didn't care. She was on to the next thing.
Yeah. And every guy has bad interactions and stuff.
Oh yeah. No, that's nothing. But I just mean, it just shows the delusion of guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because let's say you go out in an afternoon with someone for 4 or 5 hours, you'll know where the guy's at roughly.
Oh, you're gonna know right away. I know right away. I can tell within 10, 20 minutes, half hour, an hour most.
Oh yeah. You can tell within 10 or 20. But what I'm saying is, after a few hours, you definitely know.
Oh yeah.
Like what I mean is, let's say half an hour goes by, you kind of think, right, that guy's probably a 4 or a 5. But like, there's little exceptions that maybe that guy just had a bad but on the whole, like, because you actually know before he even does an interaction.
Yeah, because also you can just tell because you might go out with Derek, say, and some chud would be like, he's not doing anything. It's like he's so far out of your league, you can't even grasp what's going on right now.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing, right? Like guys don't even they can't even fathom what's happening, and that shit happens too. So anyway,
yeah, because the thing is that's why the dabbling's just a bad thing to begin with.
I agree.
And, like, I really recommend you don't get into dabbling, guys.
I do too.
Yeah, because if you're going out and you put your mind to this, for the average guy, if they go out and they go really hard, it'll take between 6 months to a year. Probably more likely a year, but like it could take 6 months to a year at least, right?
Yeah.
That's if you're going solid. That's if you're going out like
4
you're on
times a
your 30-day
week.
challenge. Then
Yeah,
after the 30-day challenge, you're
yeah,
going out 4 times a week,
yeah,
day
exactly.
and night.
That's what it
You're really going
takes.
hard with it. Yeah,
I'm glad you said all that because you're absolutely on point because you understand what it takes, and a lot of guys that I met that I went out with, they just cannot grasp that, dude. That's what this takes, and if you
yeah,
don't want to do it, that's okay, man. But don't fool yourself into thinking that it's going to just happen randomly because it isn't, man. That's the type of effort it takes to gather momentum in this department because guys
yeah,
don't realize like how delusional they are, how crazy the way they think is about things, and how much momentum you need, and how much failure there is. And it's just this devastating, constant process of failure. Of like it's like sand going through your hands. It's like water just dripping through your hands. You constantly like, oh wait, did I get it? Is this girl coming out? She flaking? Wait, what? What? It's quite difficult, man.
yeah. It's very difficult, but most guys are just eyeing the prize and they're not really thinking about the actual training. It's
Mm,
like I don't know if you watch UFC or boxing or that, but
little
like
bit.
yeah, I watch boxing. I don't really watch UFC, but
Mm,
like you see the big fight, you see the ring walk, you see all the glamour, right? Those
mm,
guys had to train for 3 or 4 months before that,
yeah,
waking up at 6 a.m. They're training all day.
yeah.
They're having to rest. They can't go out partying. Like it's a very like they're sacrificing their whole life for this
Mm-hmm.
fight,
Mm-hmm.
for a fight that only lasts half an hour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Guys don't realize so much of the process is no, today you're going to put your shoes on, you're going to brush your teeth, you're going to do your hair, you're going to dress in your proper shit, you're going to go downtown, you're going to walk up and down that fucking stupid road, you're going to do those little opens. Oh, hi, you're going to gather a little bit of momentum and you might just get one little tiny win that you didn't quite get before. Then you're going to go home and recover and rest and you're going to come out again tomorrow and do it again. Guys don't
Yeah,
understand that that's how it works, right? They don't realize that.
yeah. It's very difficult for guys to realise that because they've not had the experience.
Mm-hmm.
The experience is what makes it
Yeah,
great because if you just go out day by day, you'll start picking up things that you didn't realise you even had in you.
that's right.
So yeah, so it's really just actually going out and getting it done,
Yeah.
and it's not enough to just tell someone to just go out and get it done because most guys don't know what they're doing, right? So all I would add to that is you go out, you get it done, but you have a plan in place.
Mm,
So like so here's an example. So like I'm back home just now. I like to go traveling, but in my home, I'm not doing it enough. I'm kind of going out at weekends now. That's for me right now. But I mean, I'm 5 years in.
mm,
That suits me well. I've had different breaks before and stuff, but
mm,
especially for beginners, I would be going out. I would do the 30-day challenge because that will kind of tell you where you're at.
mm,
But for guys that are in small towns, there's two options you've got really. The ideal option is to just go on with it and get it done in your hometown because I always think your hometown's your best town.
mm,
Whether that's got 5,000 people or whether that's got 555,000 people,
mm,
your hometown's always best because you know it best.
mm,
So I would always recommend to get decent in your
mm,
hometown. I'm
mm.
not saying you have to get good.
That's
You
good
just
advice.
have to
Yeah.
go through the process.
Yeah. Get decent. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, decent means that you know how to carry an interaction and you know how to lead.
Yeah.
That's what. It doesn't mean you're good at it. Actually, you could actually struggle at it. But you
Mm,
just know what you're doing.
mm,
Like, and when I use struggle lightly there because when I say struggle, what I mean is your fundamentals are at a decent standard. That you know the process. It just doesn't mean that you're pitch perfect. You might still have a few struggles, but you know how to open. You know how to
mm,
um, open. Like you know how to open, qualify.
mm,
Then you have some back and forth talk,
mm,
investment, and then you know how to close it either through a number or you go in an instant date or
mm,
something like that,
mm, mm,
or you pull them back. But
mm,
maybe not so much in the day at first, but
mm.
there's still this can still happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Definitely. No, that's true.
yeah, so that's the number one option. But the number two option is you realise that your hometown is quite small. It doesn't have a good volume.
Yeah.
You go travelling. I think that's the harder way.
Yeah.
But either option's fine. Just pick
See,
one and go on with it.
yeah,
Yeah,
see, I'm in the position where I've definitely for sure got the basics down. Like, I'm definitely a solid intermediate. Like, for sure. Like, and I've done that all in a relatively small fucking town, really. And so
yeah,
it's obvious to me that I've maxed the fuck out, like, and maxed the fuck out in the territory, because it is obvious to me. And
yeah,
so I would say I would be served by getting into a bigger location for sure, even just for like a summer or something, like spend a summer somewhere. Like, that would be awesome probably for me. And I feel like I need to do that because, yeah.
yeah. Well, how big's your town, like, population wise?
Not that big, man. It's like maybe 100,000.
Yeah, so that's quite small, especially for like North America. Like, there's a lot of small towns in North America. Like the US is filled with small towns.
Oh yeah, but I mean, most people don't even know that where I live even exists. Like, and I mean, I was running pretty fucking, I was going pretty hard. So it's, yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah,
if you can learn, learn, and then try to find something else. But anyway, yeah, it's like, look, man, this whole thing is like,
yeah, because
it's like, what else is a guy gonna do? What else are you gonna do, man?
yeah, and I mean, like I know there's certain countries that it wouldn't be advisable to do this in, but that's few and far between.
Even
So
still, man, it's like, it's again all back to this like principle of things. Like, it's not even about like the dating, really. It's just about understanding that like there's more to reality than what you thought. Like, it's
yeah,
not, things aren't what you thought they were. Things aren't what you saw on TV.
yeah,
And
and yeah, it's just kind of changing your perception
mm,
because when you when I actually look back, everything that I've learned from going out has really changed my whole life.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but like when we're talking about like the importance of how to like kind of get good with women and stuff like that, what I've noticed is a lot of the girls have happened in a natural way.
Yeah.
Like, now, don't get me wrong, I've met many from the street as well. But what I'm saying is, like, whether I've been staying at hostels or
Mm,
maybe at, like, at a nightclub, casino, like, or a bar, or
mm,
through social circle, like, there's been a lot that if I hadn't went out
yeah,
and got all those rejections, I wouldn't have been in that position that I knew what I was doing.
that's right. Yeah.
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 So yeah. So that's really my point. It's kind of just like if you go out and put all the hard work in, that treat that like you're training. There will be bonuses along the way, but treat that like you're training. And then when you get in a more natural scene,
Yeah.
you're ready for it.
That's right. Yeah, and that's what people don't understand is just you're just building up the momentum so you can just carry on doing it. Look, man,
Yeah.
like, and this is what weird. I talked about this on a recent video I had where I was saying that it's almost like people would expect a woman to get pregnant and then just randomly know how to give birth to that baby without
Yeah.
without taking any classes on how to give birth, without going to see a specialist doctor, without having any of that. It's just like, oh, she should just know. She should just know how to give birth to that baby perfectly.
Yeah.
If you said that, that would be insane. People would think that's ridiculous. That's how absurd it is. Thinking that a young man's going to just randomly know how to deal with women. It's
Yeah.
it's fucking bananas. Like, you are never gonna just randomly figure it out. Like, yeah, okay, a couple of guys out of a
Yeah.
hundred,
Ten
like two
ten
or
percent being generous.
maybe like 2 or 3 guys out of 100 are gonna just
Yeah.
naturally be good. 90 fucking 97% of guys, if they don't get help and they don't get taught how to do this properly, it's gonna never get worked out for them, and it's going to be a massive problem in their life, a ongoing huge problem in their life, that they don't know how to deal with women in the same way that that girl who was pregnant and didn't know how to give birth. That's going to be a huge problem for her. Like, she could
Yeah.
die, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because like it's hard for guys, it's hard for girls.
Mm.
Like I would say it's the same with girls. Most some girls get lucky, most girls don't.
No, they don't.
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
because
yeah. Go
with
ahead.
with girls, I would actually say in a way with girls it's harder in some aspects
Mm-hmm.
because you think about it, the looks matter a lot more.
Oh yeah, big time.
So the difference with guys is your personality.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's more important for guys.
Oh
That's
yeah,
something you can work on.
big time. Yeah,
Your looks you can work on to an extent,
for
but
sure you can. Yeah,
whatever you're born with genetically, like
it helps, but it's not that
yeah,
great. It's not that important.
but for girls it is important though.
Huge. It's huge importance. Massive.
So what the point I'm trying to make there is like for girls, obviously with their makeup and stuff like that, they can still improve their looks.
True.
But you can only improve your looks so much.
Yeah,
Like genetics play a bigger part in that aspect. So
huge.
I mean, girls have it tough as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like they can do a lot too by taking care of themselves properly, like
yeah,
building up their inner value, and those are
mm,
the things that can really pay off for them because, uh, like the issue is too like they're gonna have to learn how to behave in such a way that a cool guy is gonna put up with that, right? It's just because she has good looks, that's cool, but you got to understand if you're behaving in a messed up way, if that girl behaves in a messed up way, a guy's gonna have to get rid of her. He can't afford to allow her around him because it's gonna fuck his whole life up, and he knows that. A cool guy knows that, man. Fucking Tyler knows that. Dan
yeah,
Bilzerian, George Clooney, these guys know that shit, man. So if they got some girl around there who's acting all messed up, man, they're not gonna. They know it doesn't matter what she looks like, but that behavior is gonna mess their life up, and they know they have to get rid of it.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because those guys especially, they just don't want time wasters.
No.
Yeah, because the thing with those guys, it's quite good that you brought them up. Like, especially Dan Bilzerian, George Clooney, and stuff like that. Those guys have got status,
Mm.
they've got money, so they've got all. So they've got the fundamentals down
Mm-hmm.
to a good degree,
Yep.
but they've also got the whole like the external is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So their internal leads to the external, but they've got the money, the fame, all that helps.
Oh yeah.
Like it doesn't help as much as you think, but see when you get good, you've maybe got the 60-70% down, but that still covers 30% because your looks, the money, like
it all kind of works
people,
together, right? It all it all kind of works together. You can't just have a bunch of money and then not understand how women work because there's lots of there's lots of idiots like that who are like who pay escorts and stuff. There's plenty of idiots around, but it's like there's lots of guys out there with way more money than Dan Bilzerian that are not doing what he's doing. He set that all up, by the way. I watched a couple interviews, interesting interviews with Dan Bilzerian and Luke. You know RSD Luke? Yeah, Luke hangs with him a little bit, and he made a couple like fucking underground interviews with Dan Bilzerian where they talked about it. Dan Bilzerian's a really cool guy, man. He's very interesting. Like he set that shit up. Like he understands how things work. He understands about women. Like he would talk about it. He's like, no, like I set this up. He's like, I did this on purpose. There's a reason why I have two chefs. Because when the girls come over, it's fun for them to stay and we have food. He's like, so it's very interesting. Anyway, I really like Dan Bilzerian. I think he's a very interesting guy.
Yeah, I've watched quite a lot of interviews because I actually knew about Dan Bilzerian before I got into self-development.
Oh, really?
So I first came across Dan Bilzerian in 2014.
Okay.
Like, I'd kind of seen him on Instagram because that's when Instagram's kind of like taking off.
Yeah.
But then around Christmas time, I started watching a few interviews and I'm thinking, this guy's a bit different. But, like, you only really see one, like, especially at the time, you only really see one side of him.
That's right.
Like, this kind of king of Instagram, with all the girls, all the cars, all the money.
Yeah.
You don't realise that, like, he had it tough.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because he was a poker player, right?
Yeah.
But see, when he was in college, he actually admits to this. he never got any girls. Like
I
he
know.
actually struggled in
I know.
college.
He became a
Yeah,
degenerate poker player. He talks
yeah,
about he was a degenerate gambler. Yeah.
yeah. Well, most of the top poker players are degenerate
Mm-hmm.
gamblers because
Yeah.
that's how you make it to the top.
Yeah.
You're a high risk,
Yeah.
and that's probably not the way I would recommend.
No,
But
it's
if you
kind of
want to get to the
dangerous.
top, it's the only way, really.
But he did make it, and he survived. But do you know what? If you like Dan Bilzerian, if you want to get some really interesting insights into how he lives, watch the YouTube channel Ignite. That's his
Oh
cannabis.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
his cannabis company. It's a massive
Uh,
company. He's a market leader in that industry. He's got huge money invested in the cannabis industry. For anyone who's interested, go to the Ignite YouTube page, and they do like weekly, like hour, 2 hour long streaming things from his compound, from the Ignite compound up in Beverly Hills. And it's really interesting because you get a behind the scenes access to see what he's really like. And it's interesting to see just how he behaves and how he treats the girls and how he treats particular ones. Like you even see in some of them how he kind of sort of has a girlfriend a little bit, right? And you see how, yeah, I didn't know that, but it's just interesting that where it's like, oh no, that's kind of his main girl there. And a lot of those other girls, again, this is nothing at all to diminish Dan Bilzerian. I fucking love Dan Bilzerian. I think he's a pioneer. I think he's a trailblazer. I think he's a great man. I really do. I think he's a fucking great man to learn from. But I'm just making some points here. A lot of those girls that are around hanging out with him, a lot of them are employed by his company Ignite as like hostesses, and they kind of run the channel. Um, and then what he seems to do is he kind of just brings a couple girls in, and they hang around the compound. And then he's just like, oh, fuck it, let's get on the jet and we'll fly to Mexico. And just who's ever kind of there, he just piles them into the jet. And they just rip
yeah,
down they just rip down to Mexico. And then he's got a couple professional photographers because he know it's all just building the brand. It's all just building
yeah,
the brand. And even if he's only maybe sleeping with one or two or three of those girls out of 10 or 12, it doesn't matter because all the girls, a million, 2 million, 10 million girls are going to see that. And they're all going to want,
yeah,
oh my God, they don't know that. They're not thinking like this. They're just like, he's a fucking baller. And so he'll get a few more. And out of those next 10 or 12 that come, he'll get a few more. So he's running shit at a high level. He's awesome.
yeah. Because like you're saying, and I've seen some of the Ignite. I've not seen the YouTube channel. I've seen maybe one or two episodes,
Yeah, I
but not
recommend
fully.
check that out a bit.
Yeah, but on Instagram, like he posts like sort of trailers for the
Right,
channel and stuff like
right.
that. So
Yep.
yeah, I'll definitely have a look at that.
Cool,
But
cool. Yeah.
just to add to your point there,
Mm.
like one or two girls, but then like it gets that ball rolling
Yeah.
because other like I don't know what his followers are, but he's got like 20 million or something,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like, or even probably more than that
Oh
actually.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but everyone sees that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's two things: the girls that he's hanging out with, no friends, right? So even off the Instagram, he's already got new ones. But then when he puts on the Instagram,
Their
he can
friends
just
see
like
it. Yeah.
he's really spoiled for choice.
Mm.
So it's that abundance mindset. Now, a lot. I think that's why a lot of guys like when I'm just thinking about it. I think that's why a lot of guys fuck up in the first place because they're wanting to be this Dan Bilzerian, right? Most guys aren't going to be Dan Bilzerian, even if you put in the work, because like make no mistake, I think this like what Dan Bilzerian's doing is amazing.
Yeah, me too.
The whole brand, but he got lucky along the way.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is that's not to take his hard work
No,
away.
no, I
He
hear
was
you.
just yeah, like there's guys that could probably do what Dan Bilzerian's doing. Not many. I'm just saying there's a few guys, but they maybe weren't at the right spot at the right time. Or
That's a good point. That's a good
yeah,
point. He did kind of just hit at the right time on Instagram, and he had just kind of the guns and the weed and the girls and it all,
yeah,
and the yacht, and it all just kind of blew up for him in his favor. And he was in that position where he had all this money and he was able to do it. So yeah, and he really capitalized on social media at the right time. And yeah, it's just but what he's done, all the principles at play that he's using, the average person, the average guy can still apply that to his own life in a little tiny way, even if it's just with a couple girls, even if it's just with
yeah,
10, 20, 100, 1,000 girls, whatever it is, you can still apply that in a small way. Even if it's just in your local little cafe or bar, you can still come by with another girl, have two girls meet you there. go over here, take pictures with those girls. You can create that in a smaller ecosystem, right?
Yeah, definitely, because that's you can have that sort of Dan Bilzerian life, but make it your own.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
instead of having the jet planes and stuff like that, you could
You could
really
even
work on yourself and have a new car.
yeah,
You
or
could
you
like
could even
yeah,
you could even do it with one of those like old school bikes with like a basket on the front, and you could just like have the girl like riding on the back or something on a seat, and you got like a
yeah,
cup like a picnic basket or something up there. Even something like that alone, it's just generating this narrative. It's just like, oh, all you're trying to establish is that's a really cool guy.
yeah,
That's a really cool guy. Now that's what you need to be. And then the girl chooses from the really cool guys. You're above this.
yeah,
She can hang out with fucking Dan Bilzerian. He's a really cool guy. She can hang with George Clooney. He's a really cool guy. He can hang out with Luke. She can hang out with Ritchie, because all those guys are different. Like Dan Bilzerian's doing a different thing than George Clooney's doing, right? They're not doing the same thing.
yeah,
George Clooney's not got a yacht and a fucking private jet. Really, what he does, he gets the girls to come on his trip over to Italy there, and he takes them out on his he has a little tiny boat,
yeah,
but it's just that's his style, right? He probably has the same amount of money as Dan Bilzerian. He might even have more actually, but
yeah,
he just uses it in a different way. That same girl that went to Dan Bilzerian's yacht, she might have also gone out on George Clooney's fucking his house in Lake Como in his little sailboat. But that same girl might also come with me on my fucking pedal bike with my basket full of fucking bread and cheese and have a little trip to the park that costs nothing with a blanket.
yeah,
Right? Because it's all just the different reference experience to her. And that's all she's registering. Oh, this is just another reference experience with a really cool guy. And I wonder which one of these guys is going to like marry me.
yeah. That
Right?
that's it really, because like everybody's got their own life, they've
Mm.
got their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
So you focus on your journey, you don't focus on other
That's
people's.
right.
You can you definitely learn off other people, because
Oh, yeah.
what Dan Bilzerian's doing, you can learn a lot of.
For sure.
What Tyler's doing, you can learn a lot of.
Yep.
What we're doing, you can learn a lot of.
Yep.
Um, what the bus driver's doing, you can like it's just different degrees.
Mm.
Because actually, that's a good point, because I remember this was about 2 or 3 years ago.
Mm.
I remember I got on the public bus, so I was it was maybe like a 15-minute ride.
Mm.
So I got on the public bus. It was a Saturday night about 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And most bus drivers, they're helpful, but they just got on with the job, just do their thing. Now this guy was about my age. I was 25 at the time. This guy was about 25. So I had sat down. A girl came on a couple of minutes later. She didn't really. She was asking about a particular stop, but just to go back, when I gave him the money and stuff, I didn't have the correct change. He said, "Doesn't matter." He says, "I'll let you off with it," or something like that. So basically, I got instead of paying £4, it was just like £3.60 or something like that. It helped me, right? So like that's quite good, because he's going out of his way to do that. But anyway, this girl gets on 5 minutes later. She didn't really know the stop she was going, but I was kind of watching this conversation, because she was on for about. She just got off before me. She was on for about 15 minutes. While he was driving the bus, he was sort of flirting with her.
Nice, good for him.
Yeah. But the point I was trying to make is, like, he was doing it well, but he was still focused on his job. But the big key there is that he was making the most of his job. So,
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Now, most bus drivers are maybe older in their head and stuff like that, so it's not. But
no,
it's just that you make the most of what you're doing.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, because he was using that same principle. He didn't have a private jet or a sailboat. He was on the bus. It was his. Yeah. This was his lifestyle, and that's the thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like that girl's not on the little sailboat with George Clooney thinking, "Oh, but Dan Bilzerian had a bigger yacht." She's not thinking that, because it was different with Dan Bilzerian, right? In the same way, she's not sitting on my little push bike with a fucking picnic basket, and she's not thinking, "Oh, but George Clooney had a house in Lake Como, Italy." She's not thinking that, because she's just like, "Oh, this is kind of funny. This is kind of cool. This guy's kind of cool. What a good time this is." That's how
yeah,
she's thinking, because it doesn't matter about the rest. Because as long as you're making the most out of what you have and you're maximizing what you have, that's all that's going to matter. Because she knows there's plenty of shit over at George Clooney's that wasn't perfect. It's like she knew it, but it's, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
yeah,
the reality of the situation is like she still had to do the math. It was like, okay, well, now he's not going to really. I went here for a weekend, but he doesn't really want me to come back. She knows that.
yeah,
So she's like, oh, okay. Oh, I went for the week with Dan Bilzerian and it was fun and I got a couple Instagram pictures. But really, he just fucked me once in the cabin and then banged three other girls and he forgot to call me again. And she's just like,
yeah,
okay, now I'm here with this guy and I'm on his little push bike and it's kind of funny. She's like, okay,
yeah,
cool. And it's like, or in the bus there. She's like, I'm just here talking to this bus driver going, he's kind of cool and he got my number. Okay, maybe I'll go out with him or I'll flake. I don't know. But
yeah. They don't really care about the all that sort of flashy things as much as you think.
that's
Now,
right. Yeah.
obviously it helps, but
Mm.
I mean that's just a general statement because that's where like a lot of guys have got so much potential and they let themselves down with all this negative thinking, as in like most guys think, oh, Dan Bilzerian's rich, he's got all this money, of course the girls are going to like him. Like they sort of get jealous with it.
Mm.
It doesn't make me jealous; it just motivates me.
Mm.
Like because there's there's so many guys that are in a position like Dan Bilzerian that just don't get that sort of luck factor.
Exactly. Or they don't want to put the work in. There's all kinds of guys with
Oh, yeah,
huge.
yeah, there's lots of guys like that. Yeah,
There's lots of guys with huge amounts of money, finance guys that are doing nothing. They're hiring escorts, or they're married to some girl who's manipulating them. Like, or they can't, or they go to gambles. It's like if you don't understand the core principles and you don't know how to behave in a cool way, it's not going to make
yeah.
any difference, man. Because that girl's not going to respond to it. And if you have all this money but you don't understand these principles, she's just going to start thinking, well, then I guess I'm just here for the money. And I'll just take as much as
Well,
I can and then I'll go somewhere else.
well, that's the only other way to do it. It's not the way that I would recommend.
Oh, I'm
But
not even considering that as a way. I don't consider that even a way, man. I think that's, I don't even consider that a way. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I consider it a way because
Mm,
it's not a good way, but
no,
like if it makes a guy happy doing that, it probably doesn't. But if it
I don't
makes a
think
guy
it
happy,
does.
then fair. Like because you might just have an exceptional guy that's just happy with that. I've yet to see that happen.
Yeah. I think,
I'm just yeah.
because it's like, to me, that's like, I just don't even, why would you give her your money? Like, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
It doesn't make sense to me. But the point I'm trying to make is you can either develop yourself and
yeah,
get to a good standard,
yeah.
and or the only other option to get a lot of girls is to build up a huge amount of finances and
Mm.
then just pay your way.
Oh, but it's like, why wouldn't you just invest that money in yourself and get coaching or get the best food or get the best trainers and then develop the type of the actual type of lifestyle that you want? Then then you're gonna get it. It's like, I don't see how you can just like build up all this finance and then be like, oh, I have all this finance. This alone is going to attract hot women who are really going to care about me and have great experiences. I don't see it working like that. I don't think that alone is good. Because then she's just going to look at it and be like, oh, here's this stupid chode who has all this money. Well,
Yeah.
how much of that money can I get? Because it's never going to work. It's like, you can never just have some pencil neck twerpy loser who doesn't understand how to behave in a cool way. If you just give him a bunch of money, he's not suddenly going to become like massively attractive to hot women.
Oh, like not at all. It helps in like the money helps 2 or 3%, but if you're thinking about the whole 100% picture, it doesn't help that much, right?
No, it
But
just gives you freedom, and you can. Don't get me wrong, I'm trying to make money, but it's like it's part of the package. Like I believe it's part of the package. Like anyway.
yeah, no, I agree with you. You're 100, probably a million times better doing it this way.
Mm.
Like I think what I was trying to illustrate is it's just a way. I'm
Mm.
not like it's not. I'm just saying it's an option.
Yeah, I guess
It's not an
so.
option. Yeah, it's not an option I'd recommend.
No, no.
But
It's like hiring an
I,
escort or something.
yeah,
Like I would tell that guy, it's like, you gave that girl $200 for nothing. For what? So she spent an hour with you? Or even if he wanted to pay her for like the weekend or something stupid and have her like come to some fucking stupid dinner with him, he might have given her 4 or 5 grand, which is fucking pathetic, to come to some weekend get together. So he could pretend he's cool, having, and she acts like it's his, she's the girlfriend. That whole thing to me is insane. But anyway, supposing he did that and gave her 5 grand, it's like that guy could have taken that 5 grand and gave it to Tyler and got like one-on-one coaching like all weekend and actually improved his life and have some
yeah,
and had some actual cool reference experiences and done it,
yeah,
in an actual real right way and taken like this journey of life in the way it's meant to be, not in some cheap fucking hooker way.
yeah. Because I think what you're saying is those guys get stuck in that way. Like, because
Yeah.
see, if you look at Dan Bilzerian, like, because he spoke about this before, that he's been with escorts and prostitutes and that, but
Mm.
it's not on the regular for him.
No, yeah, it's not something he does a lot. No.
It's like, and see, especially because he's got a lot of money and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean, he just did it for a laugh a couple times,
now,
but
yeah, he probably does just because, like, oh, I can't be bothered having a party today, right? I just want a bit.
I would say he
No,
probably, yeah. I mean, I think he
yeah,
did.
yeah, but he can like, because I always say this, like, he can afford to do that because he's in the position that he can get the regular girls.
Yeah,
So
true.
I would always check yourself that, like, because I think, like, even, I mean, I don't take like cannabis or that myself, but I don't have a problem with guys that take it now and then. Even with drink, I don't have a problem with guys that drink now and then. But as long as it is now and then,
Mm.
or it's like, because, like, so for example, like, when I go to the club, I just go out and drink water, especially
Oh
if I'm going
yeah,
out to
me
meet
too.
girls that night. Now, if it's a night that's maybe with family or friends, I'll maybe have one or two drinks, but I'm not a big drinker. Like,
Mm.
so there's nothing wrong with having, like, I wouldn't even I wouldn't even call them vices because they're just having a bit of fun, right?
Mm.
But if those things start to become like your main thing,
Mm.
so like when you go out, every time you go out, you drink. Yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't recommend dudes drink. Don't drink.
Every time you go out to meet a girl, you're paying her $200. Like,
That's
that's an issue. Yeah,
I just so fundamentally disagree with that concept. I just do. It's like it's one thing if it's like you're inviting a girl out with you to go and do something. Like that's one
mm,
thing, especially if you've been hanging out with her for a while or you're really wealthy or something and it's like, "Hey
yeah,
girl, do you want to go down to this like fish and chip shop? Like I love this fish and chip shop." And she's like, you know what I mean? She's like a waitress or some shit and you're like making serious money. You're making like $180,000 a
yeah,
year or something and she's a waitress at a fucking pub and you're like, oh, let's go to this fish and chip shop. It's awesome. And she's like, can barely afford it. It's like, okay, that's one thing. If you're just like, yeah, like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I'll just fucking, it's like $10. I'll fucking buy it.
yeah.
That's
So
one
that
thing.
makes sense.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's one thing. Or it's like the odd time if I meet a girl, we're getting like, I always go for tea because it's like $2 or whatever.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, oh, yeah, just to get it out of the way, I'm just like, oh yeah, here, I'll get this one. You get it next time. But
yeah.
it's like $5 altogether like whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a couple pound, like all together. It's like but see how it's not about the money. It's just like a logistical concern of just like, oh, I'll just pay that right quick just to get it out of the way. It's like putting change on the bus. Just like, yeah, let's just get on the bus. But it's never about the money. So that's how I view it.
Yeah, well, I'm more that way because, like, if I go out with a girl, like, let's say we go out, like, and I kind of go to cafes, but I don't drink tea, so I drink water. But say they drink tea or they drink coffee or something like that,
Yeah, yeah.
they can get theirs, I'll get mine. That's how I
Yeah,
normally run
that
it.
too. Yeah, I'll do that
Now,
a lot too. Yeah, yeah.
that's what I mostly do, but there might be exceptions, as in, like, yeah, I'll get so like I went hiking one day.
Mm.
That it was 2 bottles of water. But rather than pay separately, because the guy knew we were together, I just gave the $2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like
Now,
it's like use
now
common sense. Like if it's a couple
yeah,
bucks, just get it the fuck handle. If it's like under $10 and it's just convenience sake, it's like all right,
yeah,
man, just pay it just to get it done, and so it's not awkward. As long as she doesn't think you're trying to buy her, like that's a whole different story.
And just to go back to the Dan Bilzerian, like it's like because like I know he goes with escorts and prostitutes now and then, but not on the regular, right? But he can afford to do that, and I'll tell you why he can afford to do that, because he's already got abundance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So see, because he's got abundance, and this applies to every guy if they've got abundance, because like you can do those things as like, but what I notice is some guys, that's their only thing. Like they like they either pay for that, or when they go out with a girl, they're buying they only know her, they've maybe been 2 dates and they're buying her 10 different gifts. That's a red flag. Yeah,
oh man, that's
I know
more than to
yeah.
me. That's more than a red flag, man. That's more than a
Yeah,
red
well,
flag.
I'm exaggerating a bit, but
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
even
yeah.
say that it's a couple of gifts. That's still a red flag. Yeah,
Anything. I would say anything. I would say if you're going out with the girl and you're doing anything, like if you're like buying dinner for a
yeah,
girl on the first date, to me that's insane. Unless you're like a legitimately wealthy guy and you just like are going to dinner anyway, and you're just like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm going to dinner over here. Like, just meet me there. It's like,
yeah,
okay. And then she shows up and it's like an expensive restaurant and something. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I don't know, get whatever you want. Like, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Okay, let's go. It's like, yeah, that's understandable because to you, that like $100 that the meal cost is so insignificant that it's understandable. But if you're just like an average guy and that's like $100 or something is like a legitimate thing, like, dude, that's insane. No, you should never be going to dinner with a girl on a first
yeah,
fucking date. That's insane. That's retarded.
yeah. But I've had some instances though
Hmm.
where like I mean I've known how to handle it, but that's just because I had been in this for a few years. But I'm
Yeah,
saying
it's not easy though. Like, yeah, the odd time I've the odd time got into some weirdo thing where we end up in a bar, we end up in a restaurant, and then food's coming. It's like it does happen the odd time, and it's just something to deal with. But I'm not doing that shit on purpose.
yeah. No, yeah, but that's what I'm going to say. Look, I've been out with a few girls that haven't brought any money.
Oh yeah, see that's a
Now,
fucking mess. They do that shit on purpose.
and it's not that like, maybe they do purposely do it, but I would say it's more to do with they don't have much money.
Yeah, that
But
too. Yeah, that too.
it's it's still funny to me because it's sometimes like see if I've not got any money, sometimes I've went out without money because I always think that well the show goes on, you just like but that's not so much on the dating side. That's just more if I'm out with my friends. Sometimes I've not had money and I just go out with my friends. And
Yeah.
let's say we're playing pool. Like I've sometimes tapped my friends, and sometimes when I don't have money, they say, "Oh, we'll get this one." So we get, so like that's a bit different when you're with friends though, because with friends you've got each other's back. With girls you don't because you don't know that girl.
Mm.
But like I remember one girl was out and with me one time and she didn't have any money. So but I wanted to play pool. So I did play pool, but that was my shot. But I didn't do two shots. It was only that one game.
Mm.
But it was just like they couldn't play pool, so it was more kind of just like me playing, teaching them. So I don't mind, but like a lot of guys would like get caught up and started buying drinks and
Oh,
because
yeah, that's
like
not good.
yeah.
No, I've had all kinds of those incidents too, where I've ended up in a pool fucking club, or I've ended up somewhere like ice cream shop or something, and just to keep the date moving, I'll just pull a bit of money out and just pay for it, and be like, oh, what's that, 2, 3, 4 bucks? Oh yeah, I'll get the let's just keep going, like just to keep the game going, I'll do that, but. Oh no! You're never would I start like spending significant money on them. That to me, that's just wrong. That's just like I feel that's like morally wrong. Like I wouldn't do that to a girl. I don't think that's right,
Yeah.
personally.
I think it's morally wrong, but actually your value, like you think your value is going up. Well,
No, it's
most guys
not.
do. Your value is going down.
Way down, because it
Yeah,
is wrong. It's morally wrong, but it's also wrong. It's not good game. It's insane. Like I wouldn't want the girl to feel like that. I wouldn't want her to feel like I'm paying for her. That's just cheap. Like,
yeah.
mm,
I mean, like you say, but there is like a small degree of like a few pounds or bucks there. Like
Definitely.
to
I
get it
think we
moving,
both.
that's a different story.
Yeah, it's like we both know the difference between like spending like buying a girl dinner and drinks and over here and treating her like a princess and putting her on a pedestal. We both know the difference between that and just like hopping on a bus right quick and throwing a couple dollars in the thing, or getting an ice cream from a guy at a park because it's just like a nice sunny day and you're like, oh yeah, we'll take 2 ice creams, cool, yeah, and just carry on the day. It's two totally different things. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, that's good. That's interesting. Um, so how would let's go back to the sort of question then. So, how would you recommend that guys get good at this, just in general? And how would you recommend, like, because we've not even spoke about like actual nightclubs as much, so maybe
Oh
we'll go into
shit,
that
yeah,
a
the
bit.
old clubs,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, yeah, I can talk a bit about that. Yeah, I mean, I first started, yeah, learning in clubs and stuff, clubs and bars and all
right.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so a couple things about that is, one is just get yourself literally physically just into a bar or into a club. Just physically get yourself out at night. We'll talk about night right now. Get yourself dressed up in the clothes you want, get yourself showered, get yourself fucking get your teeth done, get all your shit on properly, get your phone on, get everything prepared. Get yourself out down to the downtown area where all the bars are and all the clubs are. Get your energy up, get your fucking feelings good, and know that you're gonna be out for like a couple hours. Say even just 2 hours. If you're just beginning, maybe it's only 2 hours all you can take. Just get out there, get up and down the streets, just start getting little opens. Oh, what's up, girl? Oh, cool, you guys going good? Okay, great. And just get the momentum going. And then as the night gets going, you're just starting to get a little more opens. Like, hey, oh, hey, girl, oh, come over here. And you're just starting to get the feel for how things work, feel for how the energy works, feel for how the girls operate. And you also start to get the feel for the like rhythms of the night, right? Which is very
Yeah.
important. You start to get the rhythm because at 10 o'clock, you meet that girl and it's, oh, we're going here, we're going there. At 12 o'clock, now we're going to this actual nightclub. And then at 2 o'clock, they've been out for fucking 5, 6 hours. At 2
Yeah.
o'clock, now they're fighting with each other. Now Jenny's being mean to Sarah. And fucking Sarah didn't bring her shoes. And she's talking to Joey on the phone. He's an asshole. Now things are starting to get sloppy. They don't know what's going on. She's starting to feel like, oh, well, I don't even have a boyfriend. I wish I did. And now she's starting to think, well, what am I doing? And the feeling then's much different as they talk about buying temperature. Her fucking buying temperature is way up now. This is when you can actually. This is when the actual like pulling, the actual like tactics of it come into play, where it's like you have to literally be like, yeah, let's go, or whatever. And so that's kind of, anyway, I guess my first tip, my first idea would be literally get yourself out there for a couple hours, a couple times a week, even if it's just up and down the streets during the nightlife, and just get into a bar. Just get, you don't real people guys don't realize how hard that is to just get into a venue. Just stand in
Yeah.
fucking lineup, pay the cover, get in there, feel the social pressure. That's the big thing. You don't understand. Guys don't understand. This is the problem. Guys sit at home and they're on their keyboards and they're watching videos, but they don't understand the amount of social pressure they're going to feel. So just go out and just get used to feeling that social pressure and just get used to being cool with it anyway. No, I'm cool anyway. And what you'll build up a muscle. So that's one tip I got.
Yeah. And like, I would say most guys probably find it easier at night than at the day to start with. It was the case for me, but I think that was down to because I was doing it on my own. So, like, I'd always went out with friends to clubs. Like, this is before I'd got into this. So when I'd started, I was going out during the day. When I started adding night to that, so I was doing day game kind of 4 or 5 times a week, and then I was doing night once or twice a week. I found night very difficult because I was myself. But it's like you go back to, like, I knew that night I was out to meet girls, but the number one tip I would just agree with you is actually just get yourself to the club.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, it's really hard because, especially at the start of the night, because everybody else is pretty much sober or that, right?
Yeah.
You're off that sort of energy because, like, most people with groups are a bit nervous at the start of the night.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're alone.
Yeah, but there's a couple of tips. Like, what I would actually recommend you go out alone because it's going to help you.
Yeah, me too.
Just, like if you go out with wings to start with, you'll always rely on wings. Well, you're not always, but it's harder to kind of go away from that.
Yeah.
Like, but one of the things that helped is to just go out to the club at first. What I would recommend now, because this is something I didn't do to the start, but I learned this from someone else that was helping me out. But I've just kind of like added it to like my own mindset now that if I was a brand new beginner going to like a nightclub, see the first night, I would say even the first couple, actually probably the first 4 or 5 times, I would say all I'm going to do tonight is attend the club.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk to anyone intentionally, like any girls. I might do a couple of kind of group things, just casual chat. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch other guys in the club. Let's see how other guys go on in the club. So like you start looking about and then see some of the guys that know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, like
you that.
There's only a few of them. There's like out of a club of like 300 or 400 people, there's only a handful of guys who know what they're doing.
There is, but the thing is, if you're at that club for a few hours watching, you'll find those guys.
Yeah.
Because even like when I'm out and I'm actually doing it, I still see those guys like, and I'm not saying those guys are perfect, but they're good. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, and this is the big difference between day and night, because see at night time, verbals aren't as important. Physicals a lot more important.
Oh yeah.
That was all like my verbals were never too bad. I wouldn't say they were that good, but they were okay. But my physical was quite poor. Nice. I wasn't very like that was always a problem for me. Like growing up and stuff like that, I wasn't very physical with girls. That's probably down to different reasons. I mean, like there's a lot of guys aren't physical though.
That's a huge part of it. That's a huge part of it, and it's like guys don't realize like, man, it's like, dude. I guess that brings us all the way to the point of like why it's so important to learn about this or why it's so important to get a coach. It's like, guys, the number one problem that guys have, it's they're way too nice, way too timid, way too scared to escalate and to talk to girls. Like, that's what guys don't understand. It's like the women do not respond to that type of timid fucking wimpy shit. Like, they do not ever respond to that. They fucking disrespect it endlessly. And that, like, the biggest danger, okay, the main fucking concern and fear that the girl has, it's not that some fucking ogre is gonna fucking drag her away into his fucking van or something. That's like a super. I understand it happens and that shit's fucking horrible, but that's something totally fucking different. Totally different. That's like this obscure, crazy, random fucking crazy dude who's fucking insane, and that ain't you, man. And the mainstream or the feminists and shit would make that are trying to teach women that that's all men. Okay, but that's not what a girl's concerned about. What she's concerned about is that this fucking guy she's going out with is going to be too timid and too wimpy and too weak, and he's not going to escalate properly, and she's just going to be bored. And that's what is constantly happening to girls.
Yeah, but it ties in with the other point to a smaller degree. But you're right, because if a guy's timid, then that says that he's insecure, right? And some guys that are good are insecure, but what you find is the difference with those guys is they're very honest about it. So like, let's say I go out and I'm not having a good night. It doesn't happen very often, but and when I say not having a good night, it's usually I'd probably put money on it. It's usually because I wasn't having a good day. So it all ties in. So like I was probably pushing myself, but maybe I had like money problems at the time, or there was like family. There was something going on that maybe my mind wasn't free, right? But what I would usually do when I was still out was I would still go in, do my thing. But what you would find is maybe some of the interactions didn't go as well as what they would normally go if you were just kind of free. But I just call it out.
Yeah.
So like, normally the girls won't ask, but let's just say they do ask, or let's just say it comes up in conversation. I'll just say, "Oh, I wasn't having a good day. This didn't go." I'm just very honest about what my mind's thinking, because what you do with that is the girl might get put off by that. Sometimes they do. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes it actually helps you, but you'll know where you stand. That's you always want to know where you stand. That's the point I'm trying to make, because like a lot of guys are timid. They're ashamed of not being as good as what they're portrayed to be. Like the ego comes back in, all those problems, and then what you find is that just puts things in your head. Then you don't even. Then you're more timid. You're more shy. Stuff like that, and of course that's going to put a girl off, because. Like, if that, like, most girls, especially, like, see, that's how it's easier at night, because if girls ever had a drink and stuff like that, they're looking for this real alpha confident guy. The day's a bit different, but it'll still show in the day, just it'll take longer. But, like, so, like, if you go out in the day, you'll maybe have a 10-minute decent interaction, but if you're being timid and shy and stuff like that, and especially those guys, because sometimes those guys get a wee bit better than where they started, and they end up having these conversations that are really leading to nowhere.
Yeah, big time. That happens a lot.
So like, they end up having like 20-minute conversations rather than
the 30-minute conversation to nowhere, as they call it. Yeah.
I mean, it's laughable, but in a way, it's not really funny, because
no, it happens all the time.
Yeah,
and that's
quite a lot.
That's why you want.
Some extent,
yeah, that's why you always want to be like direct and leading, like da 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 da. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, great. What are we doing? Let's go over here. Cool. What are you guys doing after? Yeah, what's your number? Da da da. You're always escalating it, because the last thing you want to be doing is just like randomly, just like, oh, I hope this girl doesn't leave. Oh, I hope this conversation carries on for another 10 or 15 minutes. But it's like, why? All you're doing is just like, you're just like propping up her state for half an hour, and she can get a little she can just suck some validation off you for half an hour, and then she just bounces when something more fucking sparkly and fun comes along. It's like you don't want to just have that constantly happening to you.
Yeah, you don't want to be a warm up.
But unless you're doing that in a way that is like legitimately working for you, right? Like unless it's just like, no, this is a good interaction. I'm putting effort into it. This is going well, and I'm just making the best of it. Oh, and now she's gonna go. Oh, okay. It was really cool to meet you. Okay, great. Have a nice night. And then it can still kind of raise your vibration and raise your state too. That's a little different, because you're going to have a lot of those, right? And I've had some great interactions with, like, say, just like, because when you first go out, especially, it's like you might have a 10, 15-minute interaction with a girl or a couple girls, and it's like, then they just are going to carry on to do their own thing, and there was nothing you could really do about it or know where you could take it. It's like, that can still be a positive thing, right?
Yeah, it can be positive, but I would say on the whole, like, if your intentions to go out that night and actually really go hard at this, make your interactions as short as possible. So possible is a key word there, because like if the interaction's going quite well and you're escalating, that's a totally different story. But this is especially at night, but even during the day, I would say that if your intentions that night aren't to really go after like girls, like let's just say you're out with a couple of friends or something, it's just a sort of fun night, then you can have these long interactions and you talk about history, because you're not interested in escalating anyway. Don't get me wrong, that could be a bonus, but like, because I always set my intentions, because before I go out, like before I actually leave my house that night, like, is it going to be an active night or is it going to be inactive? I always like, and if it's going to be active, then I'm full on, like, right.
I like that. Is it going to be active? Is this going to be an active night? Oh, it's going to be active. Let's get fucking. But you really do, though. It's like, that's the other thing. It's like, you got to prime yourself up, man. Like, you got to prime yourself the fuck up. And be like, no, let's do this shit. And you go hammer at it for a couple hours. And what I used to feel, especially after a couple hours of hammering at it, it's like, I didn't even give a fuck about the results after that. It was like after it was like a couple hours were done, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm going home. I didn't even
Yeah,
care about the results. I was like, what do I do? Get a couple numbers? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Whatever. In the end,
yeah,
I didn't even want to fucking even. In the end, I didn't even want the fucking girls to come out. I was like, after I went out and did my couple hours, I was like, I can't. I mean, I would text them and still try to get them out, but I was just like, I can't even be fucking bothered. I hope they do flake. Like, it was just more the activity of doing it, just the practice of
that,
doing it that I
yeah,
liked.
that's the good way though, because like usually when you don't care, that's when it actually helps
It's
you
the
anyway.
only way,
Yeah,
man. You just go through the
yeah,
motions. You're just spreading the good vibrations, and you're like, oh well, this was good for a laugh. It doesn't matter anyway, and that's how
yeah,
you get. That's how you really make progress. And then you're just like, oh well, what the fuck ever. A couple of the girls came out, a couple didn't. Now one of them I'll marry. Okay, great, fucking good life. See ya.
yeah.
It's like that. That's how it works. And guys can't understand that because they've been raised on Disney movies and retarded princess bullshit, and it doesn't work like that.
No, it, it doesn't work like that because it's fake.
It's so
Yeah,
fake. Yeah, it's so fake.
yeah,
And girls don't
and
work like that. It's not.
yeah, and that's not to say like see Disney and stuff like that. They're all good to just have a watch and just have a kite, like right,
For a
like
laugh.
especially yeah with a girl or stuff something like that. But like all this Prince Charming comes and saves the day. I mean, like.
It don't
It,
work.
is there any value in watching that for self development? Not really.
No,
No.
it's more like that dickhead named Greg from the rugby team. That fucking dickhead named Greg from the rugby team with the old fucking beat up truck, you know, that just
Yeah,
come by at the end of the bar and say, hey girl, come over here, let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah, get in the truck. Ooh. It's more like that. That's reality. And she's just like,
yeah,
okay, Greg's funny. Okay. It's like that's
and
reality.
yeah, and that I would say that happens even more over in America than it does in Europe.
I
But
was trying to think of the right way. I was trying to think of the right fucking way to call that in the UK. Like, what the fuck? That's some guy named. That's why I used the rugby team. I wasn't sure what his name was. What's his name? Is it Greg
yeah,
or
well, no,
Steve?
Greg, yeah,
Greg.
you had the story going apart from the barn part.
Oh yeah, what the fuck was
Yeah,
he driving? I was gonna say he was driving a Ute or what the fuck do you guys drive those builder trucks or what do you call them? Builder
yeah,
van? A builder van?
we call them a lorry.
A lorry. Fucking Greg pulls up in his old lorry van, fucking to the pub, has a couple with his fucking mates, fucking Adam or I don't know what, some fucking Steve or some guy. They have a couple beer and he's in there watching the footy, and they're talking about the old rugby match, and then he just sees a couple girls. He's like, "Oh, let's go get in the lorry. Get in the lorry. I'll show you around. I'll show you up to the fucking building site I'm working on." And she's like, "Okay, he's funny." And he's just
Yeah,
relaxed and cool and chilled and doesn't give a fuck, so she just goes. And then he
yeah,
just bangs her in the back of the lorry with his fucking tools back there, his hammers and shit. And then he's like, all right, well, I gotta go. See ya. Oh, I'll call you. And it's just like, that's how it works.
yeah. And those guys are actually good to learn off. And
Oh, they're
so
the best. They're the best.
yeah, but
I wish
so
I was Greg. I
yeah,
wish I could sustain a fucking head injury and be Greg.
yeah.
Yeah.
But see, like the way that you're talking about Greg is as if he's a natural, right? That, but you actually get guys that live their life like that are in self development as well. So it kind of works both ways.
That's the
But
goal. That's the goal
yeah,
is to be Greg, but have it happen as a result of your hard work, not of too many fucking head injuries on the rugby
yeah,
field, which is what
yeah,
happened to
because
Greg.
yeah,
Greg got
it's like
good with women because
yeah,
he's too fucking dumb to
yeah,
understand he's a dummy. And he just
yeah,
behaves like that. And they're just like, oh, I guess he's funny. No, he's just dumb. He just got a fucking multiple concussions, but okay.
yeah. But what you'll find with Greg is like he could probably pull on any given night, right? But what you'll find with him is could he like, sustain a long term relationship? Probably not.
Or he'll get wrapped up into something toxic, or he won't be able
Yeah,
to make enough money, or he'll end up getting hooked on the booze or something. That's what
yeah,
happens to
yeah,
Greg, right? Like he's just
yeah,
he doesn't have a fully fleshed out personality. He just kind of got a couple little things that work, and he just made do. But a lot of times that guy will never leave his hometown. He'll end up boozing too much. He'll knock up some dumb girl one night. He won't wear a condom. He'll get into a fist fight with fucking Peter, and Peter will stab him in the fucking throat or something. It's like that's the kind
yeah.
of dumb shit he'll get
Yeah.
wrapped up
But,
in.
but, they're basically like drifters, like we call them like drifters. Yeah. But the good thing about that is like that just brings it to my next point now that like most guys have to know themselves because like when Greg goes to the bar or whatever, right? He's already painted the picture as a guy that's just a one night stand for a girl, right?
Which is okay for her.
That's fine because well, it's only okay if it's okay with him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Obviously, every guy is going to be okay with. But what I meant more in depth with that is, that's the lifestyle he wants right now. Because some guys want casual relationships, some guys just like, and it changes with guys as well. It's changed for me. Like, I go through different spells. Like the one thing that stood out for me right now, because like I had a lot of girlfriends more in my teenage years. I've been single for about 6 years now.
Nice.
So like really since the self development started, or a year after, like when I get into this, like I was very cautious to have a relationship.
Oh yeah,
like more cautious, because I think until like I could probably have a relationship if I wanted now. I just don't want one. I want to wait till I'm at least 30.
Yeah.
And I'll review it then. So I'm 28 just now, so I've got like a year and like almost 2 years, like a year and a half roughly, until I'm 30. Then I'll review it because I'm just happy being single. I don't really want many attachments. I'm not really that fussed about casual relationships that much. I had been, but now I'm kind of just more into kind of just see a girl like every once a week or something, like, or every second week, just that sort of thing, like very laid back. So you. This is the point I was going to make, that each guy's got to know like how they're portraying themselves. Because we're talking about Greg that comes in at the bar, bar or the barn or whatever. And
bar. I meant bar, fucking pub, or whatever.
Yeah. But like, even by you describing that guy, he comes across as a kind of drifter. He likes to have a booze. He likes to smoke.
See, I think the reason that Greg works is because he is clearly Greg, right?
Yeah.
Like he comes in that bar and it's fucking Greg. You know it's Greg. She knows it's Greg. She knows Greg's driving a fucking work lorry. Greg's so fucking dumb he's still wearing his steel toe boots with his fucking measuring tape stuck on his belt. Greg's wearing his old fucking rugby jersey that's still got fucking stains on it. She knows who Greg is. And the bottom line with Greg is she can trust Greg to be fucking Greg.
Yeah.
She doesn't care how dumb he is. In fact, she likes the fact he's fucking dumb. Because it's even easier to trust him. She looks at him and she knows Greg. And then when she talks to him, he says the same. He's like, oh, yeah, mate. Yeah, girl. Yeah, down here, dude. And everything he's saying, she's like, oh, he's Greg. For sure it's Greg.
Yeah, it's real.
For sure it's Greg.
Yeah.
I fucked Greg before. I fucked Peter. I fucked fucking Michael. And like she's fucked Greg before in different, with blue hair, with fucking brown hair, with blonde hair, tall. She knows Greg. She fucks Greg.
Yeah.
And so when then it comes time to go to the builder van, she looks in the builder van and she sees all the fucking Greg items. Greg's got his old fucking coffee mugs in there. Greg's so stupid he even has another pair of boots sitting there. He hasn't even cleaned the thing. She knows exactly who Greg is. Greg reminds her of her fucking dad. Greg reminds her of that dickhead she went out with in high school. So she's comfortable with Greg, so she'll go ahead and go home with him. Whereas this other fucking chode who doesn't know game and is just learning, doesn't matter how nice you are. It doesn't even matter how much money you are. She doesn't know for certain that you are who the fuck you say you are, right?
Yeah. If anything, that just puts girls off, because unless you don't have to be Dan Bilzerian, but unless you're sort of on that sort of mindset, like, because like Dan Bilzerian's got money, right? But you know he's got money without him even saying.
Yeah.
It's the guys that are sort of bragging about all this money they've got, all like they think they're helping themselves.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not, because they're not being real to who they are, and it's not about being yourself, because like by people being themselves, that's not probably a good thing, because like if I was being myself, I would just be sitting in the house playing video games,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
yeah.
I'd
So,
just be at home
but
watching history
yeah,
documentaries and not even caring about the girls, which maybe I'll just do that. Start doing that anyway. That sounds like more fun, but whatever.
yeah, yeah.
It
It is more fun, like
is. I think it's way
yeah,
more fun. Fuck it all.
because I don't even play like most of the video games that I play are football games like FIFA, right?
Mm,
But the thing is, like, because I used to do that more when I was like 10 years ago or so, but what
mm.
I realised is that's not the life I want to lead because it
No, it
doesn't keep me
sucks. Video
happy.
games suck.
Well, it's fun as long as you don't do it that often.
Yeah, they're too easy to get addicted to. Like, I mean, I try not to do it. Like, I understand. I'd love to just sit around and play fucking games. That'd be great. But it's just, I can't. That's the same reason I don't watch sports. It's like, I don't want to get drawn into that type of behavior, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, balance is key. As long as you're not really putting a lot of time and effort into it, like
Mm.
it's like I mean, playing sports is fine, but again, too many people take that like way too
And
extreme.
watching it's a real danger. There's so many losers who spend so much time watching sports. It's so stupid.
Yeah, and especially like I mean, I would say America, even Canada to an extent. Like I would say they're worse for it than Europe.
But you guys have
Um,
the soccer, the football. You guys like every. I know. Remember Tom Torero talked about that once when he was talking about what his life would be like if he never learned game, and he's like,
yeah,
"Well, you know, I'd probably be wearing my fucking corduroy pants." He's like, "I'd probably be married to my, my hot babe, my five." He'd like, "I'd probably be married to a five," and then he said, "Well, I'd probably be watching my sports team." That would be like my religion. See, that's what happens. Guys get on board with their sports team. I'm a fucking Arsenal fan. I'm a Man United fan, and I know all the players. It's like, why though, man? What good is that doing you?
yeah. I mean, it, it's good, but it's not good. Like it's good to have these hobbies, but just make them a hobby. Like
Yeah, don't make it your life.
too many guys make them a lifestyle,
Yeah,
and maybe for a particular person, maybe for an 80-year-old man that's like really had a good life,
yeah,
he's
maybe.
getting to the that that even that's maybe a bit too much, but I can that makes more sense
Yeah,
that he maybe they've been retired for 10 years.
yeah,
They've
yeah,
really
yeah.
they've started to look more into their hobby. They can't go out as much as like
Right,
that makes more sense. But for a 30-year-old man, it doesn't make sense.
dude.
For a
No,
20 like actually the younger like probably the younger you get, the less sense it makes because
dude. You should
I
be like
always say this. Yeah,
watch like
see,
watch like a game like watch like a couple games a year. Watch like the Super
yeah,
Bowl. Watch like a couple games maybe just for fun and that's it, man. But don't get drawn in with watching all the games and the highlights. It's stupid. It's all just built to sell booze and trucks and cars. It's fucking dumb, man. It's a stupid.
yeah. Well, I'll paint into my life. So like for like because football's big over like in Scotland and
Oh
stuff, right?
yeah,
So
I
like
know.
like you guys call it soccer, but like
Same
football.
shit. Yeah.
I probably and I actually watch the NFL as well,
Oh
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
here's how I run it. So like for like because football's saturated, we have games on every night. Like
Fuck.
we have games on in a month. Like we actually, if I put the TV on right now, we've got about 3 or 4 games running,
Oh fuck.
like midweek games and stuff like that. So, but the way that I run it is, I probably watch a game once a fortnight, a full game once a fortnight,
That's cool, man. Just
right?
for a laugh, just for fun. That's all right. That's
Yeah,
cool. Just fun, man.
and it's usually not on my own. Usually it's with
Yeah,
family, so
man.
that's
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 cool.
that's a benefit as
Yeah,
well.
that's fine. It's
Yeah,
like my issue is more with like religiously getting together with like a group of guys and drinking beer and watching the football and acting like it's a big deal and our team won and marching around like
yeah,
dude, no, that's not gonna pay off. Like
yeah. I mean that that's when it starts to become an issue. Because well, unless you're happy with that lifestyle,
but
but
I don't
I
even
mean,
I still just
I,
think that's stupid. It's dumb. Like it's
yeah, because you're getting too pigeonholed into it. Really,
yeah. And that's a big problem guys have is they get too into things like in a stupid way,
yeah,
like not in a balanced way. Like they'll get super into the football matches and they'll let their health go. They'll let their finances go. They'll let their relationships go. It happens. Guys do it all the time. They get hyper into fucking little movie. I'm into movies. I'm into really into. It's like you have to keep in this narrow
the
fucking band.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons, computers, fucking me. It's like, dude,
that,
there's
that
all
that's that's actually worse than the guys that watch football.
Yeah, it's all the
Yeah,
same shit. I think like there's only a narrow fucking broad. There's only a narrow little fucking beam of existence that's attractive to women. That's it. And if you're not in that, you're not going to get any success, bro. So you have to stay on this little
yeah,
narrow fucking path. And there, even if there's only a couple guys in there, if there's only 10% of guys in there, those 10% of guys are going to get all the success. You've heard of the Pruder principle, where it's just a couple of
yeah,
guys getting all the success. That's how it works, man. It's the hockey player idiot, it's the guy on the football team, it's the fucking drug dealer, and it's that one guy called fucking Greg the Builder. And the other 96 guys in town hardly get any. Like all the 100 girls in town, it's like Greg fucking 35 of them, fucking drug dealer thing, 60, the fucking foodie guy banged 100, he banged all 100. The fucking hockey player, he banged fucking 63 of them. And so they bang them, or maybe like that, and then there's like the rest is just broken down amongst the other 97 guys or whatever the fuck. I hope that made sense, but that's the principle.
yeah, yeah. Really, the top guys, they're getting all the girls really in that
All of
town,
them.
especially in a small town, because you notice it more in a small town because you know everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then once though, and that's what happens. And then over time, some of those girls will decide to get married to some of those other fucking shows, basically. But it's not. You're
Yeah,
not. It's just like you're not fundamentally. It's just not the right way to do it. Like you need to become one of those guys. Every guy needs to go up and become one of those guys in the small beam, and that's how it works. And it's going to take you so long to get up there. By the time you get up there, hopefully he'll have progressed to such a degree that he'll be like 40 or 50 or whatever, and he'll just end up getting married and moving on into something else in his life. Because it will happen. Like he'll eventually just get tired of it, and he'll be just like, you know what, just fuck all this. This girl's cool enough. Let's go get married and be done with this.
yeah,
And then it's
yeah,
your turn.
yeah. It happens the correct way though. I mean,
Yeah, the
there's no
correct
right
way.
or wrong,
There you
but
go. I like how you said that. It happens the correct way. That's how it works. Yes, that's right.
yeah, like I mean, there's never a right or wrong path. But
Okay, just 1 second, Richie.
yeah, no problem.
Never mind. Never mind. About 10 or 15 more minutes, we'll wrap it up, right?
Yeah, 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 we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've been running for over an hour now,
I don't
roughly,
care,
right?
man. We've been getting some good shit in here talking about Greg and stuff. We're hammering it home.
Yeah,
Got to get Greg
but
on here next time.
yeah. So the point I was making is that there's a correct way, but in life there's no right or wrong because it's all down to perceptions, right? But what I mean by correct is, I think you got this like when I was saying it, is it's the correct way because if let's say talk like Timmy or something from high school,
Old Timmy.
you know how one of the it's a funny name, but yeah,
Oh yeah, that's an American guy, Timmy.
yeah, yeah. Well, we don't really have Timmys here, but I think like
we got Timmy.
We've got like Thomas and stuff,
Thomas.
but yeah, like they get called different nicknames, but yeah. Let's say Timmy's 14 and he meets this girl that's also 14 in his high school class, and they go out for 3 years, and then they get married at 17, right, and have a couple of kids, right? Now, what you what you'll normally find with those relationships is even if they only last out of scarcity. They don't last out of abundance.
Yeah.
There's always exceptions, right? But like, I don't really bother about exceptions because exceptions are always going to be exceptions. Like let's look at the 90% of that. Like so, like the ones that haven't had any like sort of abundance at all. You find those guys, and usually the girls haven't had much abundance as well, especially at that young age. You'll find that there'll be problems along the line. Now, with any marriage, there's going to be problems. But what you find is there's bigger problems with this marriage because they get married too young. You can't they're kind of tired of each other. They're bored and stuff like that. So the way I would recommend is you want to come from an abundance mindset. So this paints it back to me, right? So like. Remember, I was saying I was at a 4. I would say that the kind of level I'm at now is roughly about a 7.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, me too.
It's just like on my my skill. See, when you start going into a 7, that's sort of trending towards natural tendencies.
Yeah. Well, eventually, it's yeah.
But I mean, like I would say I'm just at the start of
Me
natural
too. Yeah,
tendencies.
me too. And that's after like 3 years. Yeah. Now I'm just at the level where it's like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to get it. Now I'm starting to actually be the kind of guy who's cool. I just barely
Yeah,
am cool. Like just barely am I cool now.
yeah.
It's fucking
But
nuts.
that's taking a lot of hard work.
A lot of hard
Through,
work. Yeah. Shit didn't
yeah,
just happen, man.
yeah. So I mean, like I've had a lot of sleepless nights doing this. And when I say sleepless, I mean only sleeping for like an hour, which I don't recommend on the whole. But for some weekends, you just have to do it. And in fact, that's another thing. Like, so remember I was telling you about my LA trip. So when I went to Vegas, so have you ever been to Vegas
No,
before?
man, that sounds dope though.
Yeah, well, I've been to Vegas a good number of times now, but
Fucking hey,
this time,
Richie, what do you
yeah,
got some fucking money in your pocket over there, bro, or what?
no, I didn't.
Oh
Yeah,
shit, okay.
um, Vegas is quite cheap for me to get to. Well, when
Okay.
I say cheap, it's not. It's reasonable for where I live because like I'm 5,000 miles away from Vegas. So, but like there's always deals anyway.
No, that's
So
cool.
I was staying at a cheap hostel though, so it was like I think it was $12 a night or something like that. But
Nice.
that was on the sort of sketchy part of Vegas because Vegas has got its strip. So apart from the strip, Vegas is quite sketchy surrounding it.
Really?
So this was off the strip, so it was like a 30-minute walk. Yeah, there's like shootings and stuff like that. So yeah, even walking around, it's quite sketchy. So
Wow.
yeah. So if anyone goes to Vegas, just kind of stick to the strip. Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know
Anyways,
that. Yeah.
I was at this hostel, and what I was doing is because it was half an hour walk, I didn't want to take the bus to that because it was quite low in cash. I had cash, but I didn't have much. So yeah, because it was getting to the end of my trip. Because Vegas was the last couple of weeks, and then I was going back home. But what I was doing is I was going up to the casinos at night to talk to girls, right? But I made this deal with myself that I didn't want to walk home when it was dark because it's quite sketchy. Didn't want to walk back to the hostel, so I made this deal that like I've got to stay out to 7 in the morning and try and have and do my bed. And if it gets to 7 in the morning when it starts getting light, then I can walk home. But I'm talking about I'd been out from 7 p.m. So this is out for 12 hours.
That is gangster, man.
And it's not even going to nightclubs because the nightclubs were really expensive. So
You were just out on the street.
Well, not in the street. I was at the casinos.
Was there a lot of women in there or what?
Yeah. But it was very interesting because
that's hilarious.
There was a big learning curve.
Fucking hell, man! I didn't know you did that, man. That's seriously cool, man. That's interesting.
Yeah, but it was tough because
I bet
most of the nights it was getting to 7 in the morning. I had to walk home.
What the fuck? So how did you do down there, man? How did you do down there? So you were down there and you were just wandering around the streets and the casinos and you were chatting women up and trying to get back up to their hotels and shit?
Essentially, yeah. That
I love that shit, man. That's gangster. How did that go, man? How did you do with that?
It didn't go quite well at first, right?
Fuck.
Because like I say, when I was out, like when I had went out there, I was transitioning from a 3 to a 4.
I love how you're just like dead honest about it. You're like, I was a fucking 3. I was a 3 transitioning to a 4 in Vegas in some fucked up hotel or some fucked up casino.
Yeah. It's funny, but it's only funny when you look back at it.
Oh no, I know it must have been hard.
It was hard, but what I liked about it at the time is even though it was hard and there was a lot of tough nights because, it was never results based for me, so that was the good thing. But it's still tough, kind of just putting in that energy. Like it can get a little draining, but it never get too draining for me because what I noticed is they were still fun nights, and the key that really got me is that I stuck to that principle that right, if nothing happens, I have to because ideally this isn't an ideal scenario. Ideally, I would go out at 7, spend time at the casinos, and then see when it gets to 1 or 2. hopefully I'd be in a position that I can go back to someone's hotel. That was the key, right? Yeah, that was the key.
That's fucking hilarious. I didn't realize you had like done so much of your learning curve like that, like in Vegas wandering around. Like, man, that's fucking sweet, man.
Yeah, but I always tell people this, like, I done it the hard way.
That was hard. See, that's funny because you and I both really did it in a hard way, man. That's fucking funny. I was the same. I learned in just a brutal fucking fashion, wandering around on my own. These nightclubs at 2 or 3 in the fucking morning in the winter in fucking Canada.
Yeah.
With nowhere to go. I had the Civic. I was driving my parents' Civic. I didn't even have a place. Fucking hell. Like, man, so we must really connect on that kind of level because we both, that's what it takes. That's what people don't understand how hard the journey is. I've heard Julian talk about how when he moved to Los Angeles, he was living in his car. He was freezing at night. He didn't have any food. He was living in some fucking basement with like 6 or 7 people living there and with cockroaches and stuff. And this was even when he was hanging out with Tyler. Sometimes people don't understand how hard the journey is, man. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's so hard because, but here's where the enlightenment comes now because like, I'll just kind of finish on that because it's got a good ending. So
yeah, for sure.
See for the last couple of days, I'd already booked this in advance, but for the last couple of days, I'd booked this in Los Angeles before I even got to Vegas. So I'd been staying at the hostel, but for the last 4 days of the trip, I'd booked a hotel. What a difference that made! Just having a hotel, but yeah. But I'm saying even like then the results started coming in, which was amazing at that time because like I'd been putting all this work in, and obviously I'd had a few ins and days and stuff like that, but it was pretty brutal. Well, nothing much was happening, right? And I'd got with a few girls in Los Angeles, like. But I was in Los Angeles for 2.5 months, right? So
that must have been fucking intense, man. You were in Los Angeles for 2.5 months, bro.
It was intense. Yeah, but here's the thing.
You were still learning though, and you were at like a 3.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man, that's brutal.
It's brutal, but it was fun.
Yeah, I bet it was, man. Fucking hell.
Because especially at the hostels, because there was so many guys above my level.
Was there really? So there were. Yeah, there were.
Yeah, especially in Los Angeles, because see, what you find with these big cities, especially when you're at the hostels and stuff, you've got all these hometown heroes coming, right? So I'll paint you the picture. You've got the guys that are already in their 30s. So they've just got better life experience. They've been around that scene a lot longer. Then you've got your Australian group guys. So I'll tell you about the Australians. The Australians during the day they're not very good, but at night they're good. But I mean, if I had 3 lines of cocaine and 10 drinks, I think I would be like. These guys go heavy. They're kind of they're party guys.
Yeah, no, I know. I used to live in Australia. I know.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like. The Australians are crazy with the partying. Like they don't know when to stop.
Yeah, but still, I don't believe that's sustainable. So I'm trying to build up proper game. Like,
it's definitely not sustainable. What the picture I was trying to create was that for 2 weeks, they like for a 2-week trip, they'll get by. It's when they go home they'll struggle. Yeah.
That's right. And we don't want that. We want like an actual building of like all the components of a successful life, right? Not this like spend all your money on some retarded weekend on fucking coke in Los Angeles in a hostel and bang a couple blonde girls and then go back to Australia working at some fucking as a tradie on some bricklaying site, right? Like nothing against that, but it's just
like, but if I had done what those guys had done, it would have been easier for 2 weeks.
Yeah. But you wouldn't be a 7 now. You'd be a 4 with a couple stupid stories.
Yeah. I would have really. I'd have maybe slightly progressed just by traveling and stuff like that, but I wouldn't have progressed much. Yeah, I would have just had those stories. Yeah, but whereas the way that I've done it is more sustainable because when I look at me at a 7 now, I'm thinking I shouldn't be a 7.
Mm.
I should be an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, that's how
Like
I see That's how I see
yeah,
myself sometimes. I'm like, I should be a fucking 8 by now. Like, let's get to an 8 now. It's
yeah,
crazy, man. It's really crazy, bro. It's so weird too, because it's like, it's like what it takes to even get like a girl that's a 7. It's like
yeah,
like the mainstream or the average guy thinks that's easy. But you and I have been through years and years of hard labor, and we both know it's still not that easy to get a 7 out.
no,
It's not that
it,
it's still hard fucking work, and we've both worked for years. So just look at the difference in that. What the average guy thinks, like, oh, that's easy. Oh, I get hot women all the time. It's like, no, you don't, man. No, you don't. Like
yeah,
you're not you'd be lucky. That guy who says that, he thinks that that random 7 that you got to come out one time, he'd marry that girl right away. He thinks that's his whole perception of things is fucked.
yeah. Well, well, for me, it's been very varied because because I've been out with 10s before.
That's sick, yeah.
I've,
Depends
I've
on how
also
you
been
look
out.
at it. Depends on how you look at it. Like it's all 9s. It's all variations of 9s. Like what the
Yeah,
fuck's a 10 anyway?
because your 9 could be my 7. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I mean, there it's hard to do with the rate. It's all a bit crass, but like, it's like a 10. It's like what they say is like a 10's just a girl just a 9 you can't get. Like, that's I don't know. Like, but anyway, yeah, it's all varying. It depends. You're right, but the general scales are accurate. It's like if a girl's a 7, you know it. Like she's a 7, bro.
yeah, it's usually not too far off because like I might think she's a 6, you might think she's a 7, but
Right, but it's pretty
usually
close.
they're a rough guide.
It's
Yeah,
pretty accurate. Yeah, man. So.
yeah. But I mean, that's just the journey, and I think you just got to enjoy the journey more.
You do, man. Yeah, you got to find a way to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's very tough.
Yeah.
Like I say, it took me 2 years to get to a decent standard, and what I mean by decent is probably get to that 5 out of 10, like an average kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then it's took me another 3 years. That was 3 years ago. It took me another 3 years just to get up to like a 7. Well, I've probably been. I've probably got to a 7 around 26. I've really just been keeping. The more you go up, the harder it is to go up to the
Yeah,
next level.
for sure. It takes longer. Like it probably took me like probably 3 years, even maybe even close to 4, like to get up to a 7. Like, and I went pretty hard, like really hard. So, man, yeah, it's not easy. Like, but I don't see. It's like this is how it works, man. It's like for an actual man to build his value, it takes work. It doesn't just randomly happen. It's not like because girls have to have babies. Girls get pregnant and have babies. That's where all their work comes into play. It's like you don't have to have a baby, but you do have to actually build yourself up to be a man. It's like a man for a girl to be a 7. That's almost like a liability for her to for a girl to just randomly be a 7. That's like nothing. Okay, for a guy to get to a 7, that's like 3, 4, 5 years of hard labor. So imagine what it takes for a guy to get to be himself like an 8 or a 9 or an 8.5 or a 9. That's going to take like a decade of really, really, really hard labor. Some random blonde girl who just pops out a fucking 9, she didn't do a single thing. She just put her fucking makeup on and a blue dress and she's a 9. I'm a 9. Like, just imagine that. Like, they can't even conceive of what it's like for a guy. She's just like, oh, it's easy. I don't know. You just do this and this and it's simple. Da, da, da. You're just like, it's like being born with a bank balance of a fucking $4 million. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. But you find with that as well, because this is something I've started to take notice of the last year or so, is that you get 9s that are high quality 9s, and you get 9s that are low quality 9s.
They're on coke. Those ones don't last long. They hit 9, they're 9, and then it's just they're within a couple of years. I've seen it, dude. When I was going out, man. We'll end here soon because I got my sisters coming over here in a minute. But when I was going out, I remember I run into this girl, and it was when I first started going out, and she was for sure at least an 8, maybe an 8.5. I hung out a few times. And then the 3 years later, over the course of those 3 years, I saw her, and by the end of the 3 years, she was like a fucking 6, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, that's how quick it went. It was just like,
Yeah, because like they do say that like female, I think males peak at 30.
Oh,
Like
if not later.
yeah, yeah, but a rough guide of 30. Females 21.
No, it's crazy. And but
Yeah,
especially if they, the problem is they don't take care of themselves. The problem is
yeah,
they get this massive inheritance of value of, but they just spend it. And they just behave horribly. They just behave in the most appalling fucking ways, and they just constant instant gratification, fucking manipulation, doing coke, being mean. And then with it, after a few years of behaving like that, like all their energy and all their value is just depleted. It's
yeah,
crazy, and they don't know how to manage it, and that's where I guess we'll wrap it up here on this.
yeah.
Maybe the next call we can really talk about mentorship, like we were kind of going to this time, but we'll really talk about that next time. And
Yeah,
how
we'll go more back.
I also believe that it's going to be important for women to get mentorship, so that they can take all that value that they're getting. Some girls who's 21 and fucking blonde and hot and like a 9, if she can get the proper mentorship, she can leverage that so that by the time she's 28, 29, she's still a fucking almost, she's still like an 8.5, she's still like a 9. And then she
Yeah,
can properly cash her value in for the next half of her life, right? And that's what I think so many women are missing now, is they're not doing that right.
yeah, and it's probably harder for them in
It
that
is hard,
regard
yeah.
because I mean, there's way more social pressure on girls than boys than guys.
Mm.
That's just the way it is. But
Yeah,
again,
let's continue that next time, because I just, my sister's just showing up here now, bro. But
yeah, yeah, no worry. I'll let you go. Good to chat to you again.
yeah,
We'll
man,
try
real
and
good
get
chat.
another one.
Real
Maybe
good
next month
chat,
or
man. Yeah,
something.
I know. I'll be right down. Real good chat, man. I'll post it up later tonight, man. And let's hook up maybe in the next month or so, and we'll try and do this again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun. Okay, I'll let you go, man.
Okay, man.
Okay, speak to you soon. Take care.
Yeah. See you,
Bye.
bro.